Hello everybody, here we are for part 2 of the 1967 Kabaya-Leaf set, and we're going to plunge right in. We did an overview, showed the Black Mist players, and the first time around this time we're looking, as we continue, and we showed the Giants. This time we're looking at the Dragons and the Tigers, the Hanshin Tigers and Chunichi Dragons. We'll jump right in. And here we go with the Dragons, and see they were skipped number, jump for number 20. Now we're up to number 51, Hall of Famer Michio Nishizawa. He was Ohtani before there was Ohtani. He was a hitter and a pitcher, Hall of Fame player and manager. He did both pretty well, and broke in with the Dragons in 1947. Played up through 1963? No, 1958. Let me correct that. 1937 to 1958. Thank you. Yeah, I read the years wrong. You can see up here you have some of his lifetime accomplishments: 200 home runs, 1,500 hits, etc., etc. Now, he was an all-time great player. Pitched and played first base for the Dragons, and here he is as their manager. Number 51. Or did I get these out of order? Ah, he is 51. I'm missing. I want to do them in order. Where's number 52? Somebody jumped. That's interesting. Oh. He's in the Black Mist people. Here we go. Okay. I want to keep him in order. Kentaro Ogawa. Now, Ogawa was a great pitcher, as you could tell, side armor. But, he's the one who got involved with helping to fix some of these auto races. Got caught, so he got tossed. He had won 17 games each the last 2 previous seasons with the Dragons at this point. Number 53, Eiji Bando. And a veteran pitcher who became an entertainer, talk show person, celebrity in Japan, actor after his baseball career. At this point, he'd been with the Dragons since 1959. Next, we have pitcher Tatsumi Yamanaka. Another night game picture. Most of these are not, but that one is. Next, Nobuyuki Karaoka. Whoop, let's do the front first. Five-year guy for the Dragons. Then we have Hisanobu Mizutani, number 56. Their ace at the time, well, sort of. Yasuhiko Kawamura, he'd been a starter for them, but he'd had some up and down years, actually. He was 10-7 the year before. He appears on some early 60s cards. Number 58 is outfielder Ikuo Shimano, who stuck around all through the 70s, usually as a backup outfielder, light hitter. Not much power, but played a long time. Pitcher Fujio Kitakado, he had been a rookie in '66. Let's see if we can... Number 59, there we go. Number 60, backup catcher Hiroshi Shintaku. And by the way, a lot of these guys, these are the only cards known of them, because if they're not on some of the small cards, which stopped abruptly after 1964, and before Calbee started in with their massive sets in 1973, this is one of the only major sets. In fact, the only major one. There's some smaller little, like Boys Magazine issue, or some black and white bromide with no manufacturer's identification to it. a few of those out there, but not much, and maybe some team-issued stuff. See Shintaku, he'd been a Rookie of the Year before. Strictly a backup catcher. And here's the Dragons' longtime catcher, my favorite Japanese player, Tatsuhiko Kimata. He's younger here. He would be the Dragons' catcher all the way up into the early 1980s, a Hall of Famer. He had taken over as the catcher in 1964. Number 62, an infielder, Shuhei Ichieda. Played all over the place. Listed on the back as a second baseman, but he played third and short. Number 63, first baseman, Isao Hirono. He was also a good pinch hitter. As a rookie, he'd hit .277 in 100 games the year before. Number 64, third baseman, Tatsuhiko Ito. I'm out of focus again. Thing absolutely drives me. Ah, there we no. Well, there's Ito looking at you. So down here, what you have KNL for Kabaya-Leaf, that says Chunichi, Dragons, Ito, Tatsuhiko, infielder. It's Nayashu, Dragons logo. CD, Chunichi, the owner. It's a Chubu Nippon Corporation. They're a newspaper media group. And here is the recently discovered number 65, not known to exist, Hiroshi Gondo. Now, Gondo had been a great pitcher. He came in like 1960 with the Dragons, won a ton of games, and but they totally overused him and destroyed his arm. Well, he didn't want to quit, so as you say, became a shortstop. Became a backup infielder for the Dragons, hung around. Nobody knew this card existed. It turned up in Japan, so at this point only one known. And I'm sorry about the quality of the copy, but I did the best I could. Literally did not exist until just recently. So who knows what's out there. Japanese cards are very interesting. You can always find things. So Gondo does exist, and I'm sure they didn't print just one. So they're out there. It's just for whatever reason, when Mel went to the factory, they didn't have any of this card. And here it is. A prominent player. As far as I know, the only card of him as a non-pitcher. He's on a number of the small Menko cards in the early 60s as a pitcher. But, like I said, he blew his arm out, throwing 350-plus innings a year. So, Hiroshi Gondo, the rare number 65, here it is. It has been found. Number 66. Nicknamed Mr. Second Baseman, Morimichi Takagi. Essentially was the Dragons' second baseman for about 20 years. Great, great player. 67, another big slugger, Shinichi Eto. Eto started as a catcher, became an outfielder, and ended up playing through the mid-70s. He's also with the Whales, he was with the Orions, he's with the Lions. Outfielder Akira Hishikawa. Notice he's wearing a different uniform. Notice the arm pad. You can't see it good on that one. A little bit. Anyways, there's a navy blue and red. Here he's got the lighter blue and this gold logo. This is only known card. Only he had played in exactly 37 games and he batted 110. But he got a card. Outfielder Hideaki Homoto. See, occasionally a starter, fourth outfielder type person. 260-something lifetime average. And the last Dragon, outfielder Toshio Naka, later became their manager. At number 71. Now we switch to the Hanshin Tigers. We'll start off with their Hall of Fame manager, Sadayoshi Fujimoto. As a friend of mine said from Japan, he pointed at this card and said, the Casey Stengel of Japan. Well, what he meant was a guy that managed a long, long time. You can see those are years on the right. In fact, he had managed every year. He was the Giants' first manager in 1936 when Japanese pro baseball started. So he managed the Giants from 36. And of course, there was no baseball in 1945. They shut down. So he managed up through with the Giants through 1942. And then he came back, and 43 he didn't, and 44 nothing. For all I know, he's forced into the military. I don't know. In 1945, he was actually returned, but there was no baseball. And he started managing the Robins, who eventually became, due to mergers, the Whales. And he'd been managing ever since 1946. And he's one of the all-time great managers, obviously. So Sadayoshi Fujimoto. There he is. The only card of the only American to win the Sawamura Award, which is the Japanese equivalent of the Cy Young Award, is Gene Baki from Louisiana, who doesn't want to focus. Let's see if we can improve that. There we go. Up there says G. Baki, pitcher. And he was a really funny guy. He did lots of interviews. He was very fan-friendly, loved talking about the time he played in Japan. He's an American minor leaguer, never played in the majors. Won 29 games for the Hanshin Tigers in 1964 when he won the Sawamura Award. But he missed out on being on one of the small Menko cards, and this is the only thing I've ever seen of Baki, other than some nostalgic retro cards printed in recent years. Next, one of the all-time great pitchers, Minoru Murayama, one of the lowest lifetime earned run averages. All with the Tigers. Number 103, because the Tigers start at number 101. At this point, his lifetime earned run average is 1.80, as you can see. Just simply didn't give up runs. Next, Tigers pitcher Kazuharu Abe. Number 104. That woke it up, I hope. Next, pitcher Masatoshi Gondo. Now, Gondo had a really weird career. You look at his record, he lost 20 games 2 years in a row. At this point, his lifetime was 82 wins and 133 losses. He did not play for good teams. He bounced all over. But he's one of these guys that was a good pitcher, but on bad teams. Pitcher Midori Ishikawa. Veteran. Pitcher Tomoe Wako. His brother is also in the set with the Lions. Gone 10-4 the year before. Catcher Toru Wada. I don't like action pictures. To me, that's what a card should look like. I have friends who like action pictures. I hate them. This is what I think cards should look like, these type of pictures. You can see the uniform, you can see the player, you can see the stadium, you can see the background, etc. Yoshinori Tsuji, Tigers' other catcher, later a coach. That's not what a card should look like. You don't take a picture of a guy with his face in shadow. Number 109. Number 110, Shigeharu Asai, infielder for the Tigers. Third base especially. See that said infielder on the front, says third baseman on the back. He had taken over as the starting third baseman. A big college star who bounced around for quite a while, Kingo Motoyashiki. Played with the Braves and the Tigers. Second, third, short, but never hit like he did in college. 223 lifetime at this point. But he was a big college star. He's on a lot of cards when he first came in with the Braves because they tended to do that in Japan. When the college stars come in, they print them like crazy. Veteran first baseman Katsumi Fujimoto. He's, as you can see by his home run totals, he's up and down. Next, Hall of Fame shortstop Yoshio Yoshida, fantastic fielder. Manager later on, he even managed France's national team. Considered one of Japan's all-time shortstops. Number 114, first baseman Goro Toi. Yeah, power. You usually can tell him. You don't read Japanese, look for the glasses. Toi had, occasional power, but he could hit. He did 326 the year before, 298 lifetime at this point. Played well into the 70s. Second baseman Mato Ando. Next is a Hall of Famer, outfielder Kazuhiro Yamauchi. Also played with the Orions, managed later on, coached. He did everything in Japanese baseball. Could hit for average, hit for power. At this point, he's 279 with 331 home runs. Career-wise at this point, he was right near the end of his playing career. Outfielder Eiji Fujii. He played up into the 70s. Similar to Ikuo Shimano of the Dragons we already saw, the lighter hitting, he hit a little better than Shimano, but fourth outfielder, sometimes starter. He was starting here for the Tigers. Nobukazu Miyake, who had been the starting third baseman, he was converting at this point. If you can see at the bottom, it says coach and infielder. He was starting to sit down. He'd only played 25 games the year before. So converting his whole career with the Tigers, converting now to a coaching position, but still on the active roster. And finally, Coach Tsuguo Goto. Goto had been a big hitter for the Tigers in the 50s. And here he was a coach. He had an unusual nickname. If you look at the shape of his face, it was Kuma-san, or Mr. Bear. And there's his latte. He broke in 1948. He hit 283 lifetime, but now was coaching. And that'll do it. So that takes care of the second part of Kabaya-Leaf. Next time, we'll take a look at the 3 Pacific League teams, and we'll see you then. Bye.